Hello and welcome to Dungeoneers, a podcast dedicated to discussing Dungeons and Dragons. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Josh.
Let's do this. So Josh, for this week's Lukewarm Open, I've teased you a little bit because over the last, over the last few weeks, on my free time, particularly before I go to bed, this is going to sound really weird, but I have discovered a guilty pleasure.
Okay. I'm worried about the part where it gets to...
Well, everybody has a guilty pleasure, you know? Everybody has one, right?
Sure.
Let me start by saying this. This guilty pleasure is probably pretty common amongst a lot of people. You know, it's a thing that
You're making me think it's the weirdest, most messed up guilty pleasure in the world with how much preamble you're giving it.
Well, I'm like the founding father of the United States. You know, I have to have a perfect preamble before I continue
To form the perfect union, yeah.
Yeah. But no. So at night I've been going on to Netflix, which,
Oh, how weird of you.
Poison.
That's so weird. I've never heard of anybody using Netflix. Crazy, man.
But that's really taboo. But I have
Who does
been
that
watching
anymore?
Nobody. That's I personally take VHS movies out. Actually, that's personally.
Yeah, you go to Blockbuster and you rent your VHS.
Oh, rest in peace, Rest in peace, my best friend Blockbuster. Did you ever go to the Blockbuster? Do you ever go to Blockbuster and just go get movies with your dad
or play games because they had the games set up?
Yeah.
I never played
dude.
Infamous. I only ever played it at a Blockbuster. That's how old Infamous is as a game. I remember playing it at Blockbuster.
You know what that reminds me of? Alfie's Pizza. Is that just a regional thing? Is that just a Washington thing, or is that like a national thing? Because I love Alfie's Pizza.
I think that's closed. But
yeah, probably is.
Was that a
It's a pizza place.
Well, no, but was it a what do they call it? Like they have a bunch of different pizzas out and you just
Arcade?
take one.
Oh no. They did that with a salad bar, but I think that's a common thing with a salad bar. But you would order your pizza, and then have you never been to Alfie's?
I don't think I ever have, but how do you spell it? How do you spell Alfie's?
ALFI''S, and that's a big guess. I don't know.
Oh, it's Y. It's Y.
Oh, it's Y? Okay. Man, I thought
Best
they were Italian.
Pizza and salad bar.
Yeah, that. This place was my childhood crush, if you could be in love with a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, you order your pizza, and they have gaming console.
Everything is saying Washington, so it might just be us, my guy.
Yeah, dang it. Oh, man. Everybody should have the joy and pleasure, because you would walk into the store, you'd order your favorite pizza, and it was just all the gaming consoles you could possibly ever imagine or want. It was awesome, because you order your pizza, you go tell mom, see you later, screw you, I'm out of here, and you go run into the room, and you play Halo, you play Forza, you play whatever with all your buds, and then pizza comes, and you go eat pizza, and then adults are being boring, so then you go run and play games again. It's great. It was
I don't know
awesome.
if they still have the games. Sadly, it doesn't. I'm not seeing any pictures showing games, but
yeah. Well, the console era is kind of like dead, So and
golly,
the old school consoles. You could have like a really cheap, crappy TV, and it would be perfect. And now you need if you're gonna be playing Madden 23 or whatever, you got to have like giant TV.
I actually have a
cool.
story about Alfie's Pizza.
Oh, so you have been to Alfie's Pizza?
I have
just
not.
lied to me.
I have not.
Oh, okay.
But I have a story about Alfie's Pizza.
How do you have a story?
Listen,
about
you gotta hear.
What the heck? Okay, I'm ready.
We had this cup growing up. It was the only cup like it in our like cabinet. It was like a regular sized cup that was like frosted. That had it was plastic, and it had like the frosted plastic look to like, but it doesn't have it around the rim. Well, we were like, hey, where did this? Hold on. We were like, hey, where did this one cup come from that we've had literally our whole life, but we just never cared to think about it? And my dad was like, oh, when I was like growing up, when I was like a teenager,
oh no,
I stole that from an Alfie's Pizza.
Wow, that turned a different way than I was expecting.
So, years go by, like years and years and years, and my mom finds a sleeve, like a whole pack of those exact same cups
Oh
So we
no.
buy them and we wrap them and we say from Alfie's to my dad. And so he opened them. He's like, "What is this?" And it was just a stack of those cups.
Oh, it's so good. I love Alfie's. That's good stuff.
Yeah, so
It
that's
was.
the only relation that I have to Alfie's Pizza.
Where was I going with Alfie's? I don't
I don't
remember.
know.
Something about a guilty pleasure.
Yes, guilty
But Alfie,
Netflix, guilty pleasure.
Netflix. Why did that?
I don't
Anyways,
know. I don't know how
I
you got to Alfie's Pizza from Netflix, but you did.
I don't either. Okay, but anyways, so guilty pleasure Netflix. So over the last like 6 weeks, I have been watching a show called Love Island. Have
Oh
you watched
no!
it?
Is it U.S. or UK?
Well, there's different regions. Shoot, man.
Wait, which
I
one
didn't know that.
Which one are you watching?
I don't know. Whichever one that's
Do
on
they
my,
have
it's
an
gotta be
accent
U.S.
or not?
Well, I mean, some people do. There's one guy that I can hardly understand sometimes because he's awesome though. I love him, but
I'm gonna assume
uh,
it's the UK version. UK is the main one.
no,
UK is the one
they
that's been
s-
going on for years.
really no, it's
Yeah.
got to be U.S.
Okay.
It's got to be the U.S. version. There's
Okay.
no way it's not.
Then you're watching
Because
the
they're-
U.S. version because I think
one
they
of them-
most recently came out with the U.S. version, but I know
There's
Love
only 2
Island's been a
seasons.
thing. Yeah, Love Island's been a thing for so many years in
Are
the
you
UK.
are you telling me you have deep knowledge of Love Island? And this
I
isn't
only have deep knowledge because I have deep knowledge of.
Love.
I have I have deep knowledge of UK television, and
Oh.
nighttime UK television talks about how stupid or weird or Love Island was
Okay.
that week, and I'm like,
okay.
oh my, okay, so I know it exists. I know the
Okay.
premise. I know how bad it is.
Oh, it's great. It's great. So, for the people who are uninitiated to the beautiful show that is
Yeah.
Love Island, essentially the premise is you get a bunch of young, hot, I'm telling you, like the most attractive people you can find, and you put them on an island or the top of a hotel rooftop in a tight, confined quarters, all living together, and they must choose who they want to date and
you just
sleep
watch
with,
it.
I guess.
Yeah. They
Yeah,
literally sleep with each other.
They
filmed
sleep
on
in the
camera.
same. Yeah. They sleep in the same room, all of them, all the
It's
contestants.
A wild
So-
ass show.
Yeah, it's crazy. So first episode. I'm in the second season because this has been my nighttime binge. But
Mhm.
I'm in the second season, and the first season they were on an island in, I don't know, Fiji. I don't remember, but somewhere on an island.
Yeah.
Now they're on the top of a hotel in Las Vegas, and the first. This is gonna be awkward, and you're gonna hate it because this would be probably my and probably your worst nightmare of all time. Okay, they line up all the ladies. They're all in bikinis, right? There's only 5, but they line them up, standing in a pool.
How weird are you making us out to be by saying this is okay? Here, okay.
No, it is weird. It is weird. The whole thing is.
Well,
weird.
I don't know where
Okay?
you're going with this.
Okay.
I've never actually watched the show, so I don't know how it starts.
Okay, so they line them all up in the pool, and they bring the guys out one at a time, and the guys walk out. They say, "Hi, ladies, whatever. My name is Jordan. Blah 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 blah." And they are all wearing very little clothes, bikinis, shirtless,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Very
That's
little
the whole
clothes.
point is that they're all like,
Yo, absolutely.
the men and
Absolutely.
women are all dressed as skimpily as possible.
Absolutely.
Every picture I've seen from the show, they look like they're about to go to the beach, and I've never seen an image of them at the beach.
Oh, I'm telling you, it's psychotic. But anyways, the guys have to come out and they stand next to the host, and they have to. The host asks girls, if you find this guy attractive, step forward.
That's fun.
Okay.
That's fun.
Oh,
No problems with that.
I know, right? So then the girls step forward, and the guy then chooses any of the ladies, not just the ones that have stepped forward, but any one of them to one he wants to date. Okay. So-
that cannot go well.
I know, it's crazy. So this season, literally none of the girls step forward for any of the guys. Like
That's
barely any.
hard.
Oh. Could
Is
you
it just a
imagine the
bad
gut punch?
season?
No, it's juicy. It's for juicy content. Are you kidding me? It's awesome. Because
Okay.
now they're going into it. All the guys are like, not self-conscious because there's
They're supposed to be
90% of the
chads.
guys.
They're supposed to be chads. That's the whole point.
Yeah. 90% of the guys on that show are like way over the top, and I'm telling you, like, I make friends with everybody pretty easy, and making friends with those guys would probably be pretty hard. And they're like, I'm in it to win. Like I'm here to. It doesn't matter what friends I make or not. Like I'm gonna get the girl. Like,
Yeah.
it's great. It's crazy. So, anyways, the first guy comes out, attractive dude, looks really good. He talks 100 miles an hour, and his accent's hard to understand. He's hilarious though. One girl steps forward. She's the only black girl contestant, and the guy is black. She steps forward, and he walks.
He says
like,
no.
Oh, well, Justine. Yeah, Justine.
He's like, no.
Like, oh, you like her, and so I was like, hey, go choose who you want to date, and go stand next to them. And he goes and stands next to the girl who found her attractive.
She just actively
so
sees
awkward.
this as I have 100% specifically chosen not you.
It was so awkward. It's like the most awkward thing ever. But
and then because it's a reality show, they cut to her like talking about it afterwards.
Yep. Absolutely. But I'm not done, okay? So this process repeats 5 times, okay? And the guys can steal girls away from the other guy, right? So another guy comes out, and he likes the girl that the other person's dating. He can go and take his spot, and the other guy has to sit and wait until the end. And
it's like a gift exchange.
It is. It's so
That's
terrible.
Wild. What is this show?
You gotta watch it. It's terrible.
I don't want to. It sounds horrible.
Oh, I'm not done. Okay.
Okay.
Then the first season drags on. It's an hour and a half. It's the opening season. It's got to drag on.
Opening
Right?
episode.
It's just drama.
Not
Kids.
season.
They're all introducing each other. They're all talking. It's drama. It's hilarious.
Okay.
The girls are like, oh, I just want to touch these guys, and the guys are like, yeah, like it's pretty much how it goes.
Exactly how it goes. Okay.
And at the end of every first episode, a new guy comes in to make it 6 guys, 5 girls, and the 6th guy gets to steal a girl away from somebody at the end of the night.
Fun. Okay.
It is so awkward because all these people are like, I'm going in for love. I'm all about the personality. Like they all say this, and then like 3 hours in, they're like making out on the couch. It's like, yep, this is my true soulmate. And then some guy comes in and just totally disturbs the whole thing. Some alpha male guy. Alpha male in quotes, by the way, sarcastically.
Yeah.
Comes in and
I will say the greatest thing I've heard about alpha males, or like in terms of like the term,
it's so good,
is someone was talking about, they're like, honestly, that's one of the best terms for those people, because if you think about it, like in anything, the alpha version is the worst version.
Oh yeah.
And it's like
so funny.
That's the first try, and you're like, that didn't work. Let's try that again. And it's like, yeah, that's pretty accurate.
It's just so funny to see the look on the guy's face when the second episode rolls around, and the new guy, the 6th guy who doesn't have a date, he has to sleep by himself in a room with all the other people who are sleeping together, right? Like every other couple has to sleep in the same bed.
Sleep in the same. That is awkward as hell.
It doesn't matter if they hate each other's guts. They have to sleep in the same bed, in the same room with everybody.
Okay, why?
Right?
Okay.
Everybody.
We're almost done with the lukewarm open. How does this relate to anything that we talk about on this on this podcast?
Okay, well, the long about tirade that I've been on for the last 15 minutes is essentially all wrapping up to something very short and very lame that you're going to absolutely love. And that is, how do people in worlds, how do they get entertained? Because I do this for entertainment. I think it's hilarious. I think it's funny. What ways do you incorporate your world for entertainment?
Kidding me? You found the weakest like reason for you to talk about this, because you just wanted to talk about this.
I had to. The whole lukewarm open was just going to be me talking about Love Island, and
it's literally the whole
segue.
Yeah, you just wanted to talk about. I want to talk about Love Island. Let's. What can I say? Ooh, how do people entertain themselves? Golly,
that's exactly what I did. And you know what I thought about this last night at like 1 a.m. because I couldn't go to bed. And I was
you
like,
were watching Love Island too much.
Exactly. And it's like, it would be a perfect lukewarm open to talk about Love Island with Josh, because it's gonna be awkward. It's too good.
Yeah, it's a show I very specifically decided not to go to.
Yeah,
it does not
for all
sound
you
like
world builders out there, put Love Island in your world. You won't regret it.
I don't. It doesn't sound like a thing that would really like
Okay,
In the medieval times, dating shows were not a thing.
Milord, choose your lord.
Ladies.
Duke Averon from Averon Duchy. He owns 17,000 acres of land, 20,000 peasants, and
Okay,
two major
hold
cities.
Hold on. Now I really want to play like a faux Love Island with just like every one of my friends who's ever played a TTRPG and play like just like we all create fake fantasy characters, but we're playing fantasy Love Island.
Yeah, it'd be so. I mean, boy, that would be
That would be the
funny.
whole TTRPG. That'd be the whole campaign. Is just playing the
Oh,
shittiest Love Island.
You introduce it by you have a giant arena in the middle of your city, and instead of it being like a combat arena that everybody actually like everybody's expecting it to be a combat arena, place your bets, take monies on different people, different contestants, and everybody goes up to and sits in the stadium, and it's Love Island in the center.
But it's controlled by some sort of like game master god that like they literally they created their characters for war and they have to play out this Love Island. You would let all the players know ahead of time because that would be really
man,
bad
that'd
if
be
they
so
were
funny.
not.
But you know,
I hate it so much. Okay,
we're gonna be done with the.
Yeah, I'm stopping this topic so that we can talk.
I have to say.
Yeah.
I hate the premise and the concept of the show with a burning passion. Like,
yeah,
I hate it
no,
because
it's gross.
It's so shallow. It's so lame. It's so
all
dumb.
about
it's
everyone
just,
is an item that we're gonna use for.
I will say,
clicks.
if you don't have good self-esteem, I feel like it's a really bad show to watch because all these dudes are like, all these dudes and all these girls are extremely attractive, like very attractive.
I would say I don't think I've ever been like looked at attractive people and been like, man,
no,
I don't think less of myself.
Either.
Like that's not how my self-deprecation works.
The thing that I think would get people is none of these people are like attracted to each other based on physical looks because they're not good enough, like at all. And you're like, really? Like these guys are like, these people are very good looking, you know, and like they're all dissatisfied with each other. So it's kind of like, ugh, you know. Which I mean, obviously they're not a very good sample of the real world, probably.
Yeah.
You know, because they're purposefully choosing people that are over the top, that are, you know.
That are going to make good TV.
Exactly, yeah, and they purposely find those people. You know, like they all have 200,000 followers on Instagram and stuff like that. You know, but I'll tell you what, I love watching it for a good laugh. It is so funny, and okay,
I'm cutting you off now. We've talked about this for 20 minutes.
No, one more. Their host, the guy who talks over everything, the narrator guy, he makes fun of it all the time, and it's really funny. So. It's just a funny. It's sort of super dumb.
No,
but
that's
it's
the thing. In the UK, I knew who the narrator was. I don't know who the US guy is.
It's
because it was like normally like a comedian.
Always...
They use a comedian.
It is. Yeah.
In the UK
and it
version.
makes the show so good because his comments are so funny. Because you're thinking it too. You're secretly thinking it too. Like this is ridiculous, and the narrator is just, the commentator is just going with it, you know, and it's hilarious. But anyways, hate the concept of the show, love it for funny entertainment. But anyways, what's the topic now that it's been 20 minutes of Love Island?
Yeah. I never thought I would have a podcast that talked about Love Island for 20 minutes.
Hey, next week we're going 25. It's a new goal.
Okay. So in the last episode, we set up that what this episode was going to be talking about.
Yeah,
how we were going to create
dedicated to D&D. That's what we were talking about. But we're talking about Love Island.
We talked about how this episode we would be creating our big bad evil guy because we got super close to it, and I was like, whoa, let's hold off. Let's not create the big bad evil guy. We don't have enough time. Let's leave that for the next episode. And we really focused on like how they were doing their evil thing, like what was going on type thing. So I had to find a good topic to lead us into that. And I found a few new topics while looking into a good topic for this. But I found the topic of this week in the region of Icewind Dale. That is an area in the north of the Forgotten Realms that is just outside of, just north of the Sword Coast, where most stories in 5th edition take place.
And that's a campaign, right, that you can run? Because I remember
Icewind Dale's the location.
Oh, okay. What's
So
the
they call it Rime of the Frost Maiden, but
yeah,
Icewind
okay.
Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden, but Icewind Dale is the location.
I can picture the cover art.
It's this really cold mountainly area in the north. I think we've talked about certain things that have happened there, but we haven't really talked about that area before.
Mm.
Now, this week we're going to talk about an immortal beast, and beast is the classified like monster classification beast. I'm not just calling it a beast.
And you said immoral, like bad?
Immortal.
Oh, okay. I was
Lives
like, man, are we
forever.
going back to Love Island and a bad boy?
It's also not. It is immoral, but I don't know if that's by its own will or just the fact of it's you. It's
He's
called
an alpha
Thruun.
male.
It's called Thruun. I don't want to
made you
say no.
flustered.
I don't want to say
made
no.
you
He's an alpha
flustered.
male, but so Thruun is this beast that is associated with the D&D god Malar.
And I'm a sales manager from IKEA. Sorry. Anyways, keep going.
Malar Malar is the lesser deity of hunting, stalking, bloodlust, and bestial savagery.
I'll tell you what, man. Our lukewarm open fits perfectly with this. I'm just saying.
Malar
It's
was
like the gods have aligned it.
Malar was supposed to be the embodiment of the bloody and vicious side of nature. Thruun is a large creature reminiscent of an ape, but it was the size of a horse.
Oh gosh.
Now this ape-like creature had white fur and a face not like an ape, but more like that of a wolf with a large snoot. Now, running along this snoot, there were rows of nostrils, and it had no eyes. I'm gonna post a picture of Thruun,
Wait, what?
which is
Yeah, I got.
T.
I'm confused.
I'm gonna spell it out so people can look it up if they want to. Thruun.
Throon.
Thruun.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. This creature was a devastating force, as it was immortal. That didn't mean it
Reminds
was
me of my cat.
undefeatable, but it couldn't be destroyed. I'm sorry, did you say it reminds you of your dad?
No, but that would be fun. No.
That's what I thought I heard, and I'm like, what?
No.
Wait, what?
I said cat. I said cat.
It's like, I've met your dad, Aaron. I don't know if this is what he looks like.
No. It couldn't be further from the truth. Oh boy.
Okay.
Wow, we're in a mood this episode. Love Island just gets you feeling some type of way, you know.
Now, Thruun, yeah, which also I will just back to our Love Island conversation. There's so many seasons of the British one. You will be good to go for years to come.
Are they on Netflix?
I don't know where they are. They might be on Netflix.
Well, I have a VPN, so I can go to Britain and find out.
Thruun was a summoned creature and could be used for devastating destruction. Its bites had a chance of spreading the debilitating disease known as Malar's Fury. It was named after, as I said previously, the god Malar, and any infected with the disease were dazed when within the vicinity of blood. They began
this
to have
fits really well with our character.
visions of Malar's hunts, seeing the bloody bestial savagery of Malar's hunting.
Wait. Are those hands on a necklace around his neck?
Oh, we'll get there. There's 20 of them. Wait.
Whoa, what?
There's 20 of them.
I just noticed that.
We'll get there.
Wow.
So, we're going to talk about the summoning now. There was this group that summoned him, so we're going to talk about them, called the Tribe of the Wolf. And it was struggling after massive losses under their previous leader. This leader, Wolf King Bjorg, died and left no heirs. Not only was the tribe devastated by the heavy losses, but it also had lost its leader. This caused the spiritual leader of the tribe, their shaman, to take over. Now, I'm going to butcher this pronunciation. It's Juti Merlis, which probably is a mispronunciation, as it's J-U with the 2 dots above it, T-T-I.
I'm almost certain that's probably a mispronunciation.
Yeah.
But, you know.
So I'll just go with Juti.
Judy.
This shaman cried out to the gods, hoping anyone would respond and help the tribe through this. Her pleas were answered by this deity, Malar. Malar chose a warrior within the tribe that was the embodiment of all of their beliefs, called Isar Kronenstrom. Malar gave Isar the chance to become his chosen. Isar was successful becoming his chosen and became leader of the tribe. From there, Juti taught the ways of Malar to their tribe, and Isar wished to gain his favor even more and wanted his aid in getting revenge on a local town that Isar felt slighted by. He wished to use the might of Thruun to attack his enemies in a town nearby called Goodmead. Isar was an incredibly strong and feared chieftain of his tribe. His reputation was so fearsome that the other tribes in the Dales feared that they were too weak to challenge his rule. He even gained a loyal following within his tribe of a ferocious band of barbarian warriors. Now, this leads into exactly what the summoning of Thruun entails and how you do it. To summon Thruun, Isar went on a murder spree, killing 10 people from what's called the 10 Towns, a loose confederation of villages in Icewind Dale. Now, he didn't just have to kill them. He had to mutilate them. Isar had to open their chests and reorganize the victims' ribs to resemble the wings of an eagle.
What? I thought we were messed up.
Yeah, and remove their hands. These 20 hands of the 10 victims would be strung into a necklace and worn across the neck of Thruun once summoned.
What the heck is
That's
wrong
why
with
he has
people?
that necklace of hands.
How do you come up with this stuff?
This was actually
guess
in
I shouldn't be
Dungeon magazine.
Wow, man.
This was this was an adventure that you could play out and have your PCs come across.
World builders are messed up, man. They got
yeah,
the
dude, we're
thoughts of
crazy
everybody.
people.
I know.
Now, Thruun emerges in an area called Dugan's Hole within
Dugan.
the 20 stones
Dugan.
of Thruun. Upon completion of this ritual, Thruun was summoned and sent to destroy Goodmead. It immediately charged to the town and began attacking whoever it encountered there, which, interestingly, as this is supposed to be an adventure, the first people it comes across is an adventuring party, investigating the deaths Isar caused to summon this monster. This adventuring party is the PCs in this adventure.
Of course.
The intended path is that they kill Thruun in the fight that ensues. And in doing so, he vanishes in ghostly flames and rises towards the sky. From then on, the adventurers have to save the town by stopping Isar before he can perform the ritual again, once again summoning Thruun. Now that is the story of Thruun and the tribe of the wolf, which I thought was a fascinating monster that could be summoned in the world and might give us some ideas for the brutality or whatever of our big bad evil guy for this next campaign.
They have to rearrange
the ribs
into
so they had to break them.
formation.
You had to break them off. They don't just rearrange easily.
No, oh my gosh. The only thing worse would be if they had to still be alive or something. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And so we're gonna make big bad evil guy now. Is that what we're doing?
That is what we were doing. Now, can you
All right,
remind everybody what we talked about last week that led up to who was the big bad evil guy? What are they trying to do? Stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, so last week we kind of made a city that lives on the back of a giant creature.
Mm-hmm.
And that creature kind of makes his way underground, looking for the souls or the failed byproduct of trying to ascend to godhood, and he
would consume
and eats that. Yeah, and that consumption has turned this creature into an eldritch horror, so to speak, just something grotesque and terrible. And an ancient civilization had built a city on its back, not realizing that it was a cursed being, and they themselves had gotten cursed. And that city then rises from the ground and raids villages and essentially steals people and makes them soulless, and turns their soulless body into a weapon for itself. And that weapon allows it to see where it's going to find its next victims. That's kind of the living city, I guess you could say, that's on the back of this creature. And then our big bad evil guy is trying to use that to destroy the foundations of the world and the godhood and the pantheon, essentially. Wants to collapse and destroy the pantheon by destroying the pillars of the world. And to ascend to godhood, a person has to perform a ritual and tether themselves to one of those pillars to ascend to godhood. And he's trying to stop that.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the basics that we made last week and a little bit more of the weeks before that. But all right, now we got to make our good old friend here. And do you have kind of thoughts right off the bat? Anything you kind of want to add really quick, or
Not totally, no. I was
Okay,
curious
so
what if last week anything like popped in your mind about like, oh, I really want to
no,
have this
I
or that.
do kind of want to talk though before we jump into it, about your process of making a big bad evil guy. How do you do it? Is there a process for you? Does it just kind of flow naturally? What's your kind of
Uh,
process behind it? Because I think everybody's probably a little bit different.
I think it depends on like what type of campaign it is.
Mm,
And what kind of like what enemy I want the party to have. Like what foil do I want them to have for that campaign?
yeah.
The next one I'm doing um is going to be set in like a 1850s, 1860s industrial revolution like setting.
Ooh.
So I was creating a capitalist a-hole that is
Yeah, the best.
perpetuating the system pretty terribly,
Ah,
and keeping
yes.
like children in child labor and all this stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. What your process, do you have a process of creating a villain? Do you
It
have like a
depends. It really depends. I think the
does it just kind
story
of
is what
go?
comes first. So
Mm,
I'm like, what is the story that's gonna play out, and then what would be the most interesting? Um, and I wanted to do something interesting for the next campaign, which fun little spoilers if you're in my group. You don't have to stop listening, but you might not like to hear this. Um, I talked to a player, and I was like, hey, I would like the big bad evil guy of the next campaign to have talked to some sort of seer or some sort of fortune teller or whatever, and they warned them about the party at the like very beginning of the
mm.
campaign. So they know this party's going to be their enemy, and they know like you're level 1 and they know you're going to be there. You're going to try and stop them when you get
Oh
more
gosh.
powerful.
Yeah.
So from the get-go, he's going to try and get someone in on that party.
Oh, and you want somebody to play that character?
Uh-huh.
Oh
Which is not
gosh.
just someone in the party. It's actually we talked about it and thought of how it was going to be. It's going to be their son. This big bad
Oh
evil guy's
gosh.
son.
Oh gosh. Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awkward.
Yeah.
Oh, oh no. Yeah, I don't know. For me, the process of making a villain, I don't know. I think it changes for me depending on what I'm doing. So just with basic world building, it's a different process. For D&D, I don't create a lot of villains for D&D. I kind of let villains develop on their own.
Mm-hmm.
So I create basic templates. So I guess for like our old campaign, Serrano is probably your main bad guy that you guys were going at. His family was once a duke and from their duchy,
Mm-hmm.
and he kind of developed as a enemy for you guys. But I don't
I will
think
say
he was.
it definitely didn't feel like that's it did feel like you
Yeah,
led that to be the enemy. It didn't feel like that was 100% where our point of view was looking. But
yeah. It.
I liked Serrano as an enemy very much so. He was because we were doing a really like RP heavy
Yeah.
political thing, and him being this guy who was like really hated having his family's nobility taken away, and
Yeah.
trying to recover that on the sly, and
Yep.
working with other people to like get himself back into a
Yeah.
position of power was cool.
Yeah. And it was kind of a. Yeah, I wouldn't say it was an enemy for you guys, but it was very tense, I guess, because his goals kind of aligned with your goals, because you guys wanted to take over a lot of stuff too, and he also wanted to, and he was, I don't know, making an undead army that could essentially take over the capital. That's
Yeah.
pretty much what was happening, and you guys were a little bit in on it, and were letting it happen.
Yeah, we were going with it. I forgot that our our paladin friend,
Yeah,
who is super into conquest, was became the leader of his army.
yeah,
Yeah, that did happen.
yeah. So
Man, it's
you
been
guys
too
were kind
long.
of rolling with it.
It's been two. It's in like 2 years. Feels like.
Yeah, it's been a long time. But you guys were kind of rolling with it, which more power to you, I guess, because your goals. The thing is it's gonna sound terrible, but the world itself is very gruesome, I guess, which I guess a lot of like
our whole thing was like, hey, all of you like who are weary and hurt and like
Yeah.
or treated badly in society, come to our lands.
yeah,
Now we're gonna do
Yeah.
a bunch of horrible conquests and kill a lot of people to take over, but we're doing it so that we can make sure that the world is fair for you people.
Yep.
Because we
Yep.
love all of you. Hey, orcs, you come live over here. Hey, kobolds, come over here.
Goblins, Yeah.
Goblins.
spiders, you name it. Come over
Yeah, we're here for all of you.
We're creating our
It was
own
great,
Mordor,
but-
and we're gonna go
But now that I think about it,
destroy everything.
that's the whole like Darth Vader thing of like, the world's not gonna be peaceful. I'm gonna fight the rest of the world until I control it all and force it to be peaceful.
Exactly, and that's kind of what you guys were going for. I create a lot of my worlds, so I'm a history major, and I create a lot of my worlds based off of a lot of historical and real world events, especially 12th and 13th century Europe. And world was a pretty bleak place in 12th and 13th century Europe.
Yeah.
So, like, there's not a lot of good that is occurring, especially in like the lower classes. Obviously leaders are eating well and doing their thing, but so for me, I think a really important part for creating a villain is looking at historical context in real life, because I like to have things that people relate to. I don't necessarily need people to relate in an emotional sense to my evil guy, so I don't need like I guess the classic example would be Thanos, right? People are like, oh, well, he's got an ultimatum of like good, win if you lose, win if you don't, I guess. Like he kills half the population, but the world can keep going on and not have cataclysmic disaster.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't necessarily have to do that, but I like to base them off of real world figures that things that actually happen in real life. So it's not super far fetched. Obviously, there's magic and cool stuff in a world, so obviously there's different, So my first process is definitely looking at that, which I probably will recognize that I have a little bit of a different style just because I have the advantage of being educated in history in particular. So when I do a lot of world building, a lot of it is rooted in a really solid historical, backed thing, evidence and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's probably my very first step, is to find a figure or a thing in history that I think fits the mold of a potential villain really well. And for Serrano, that was a duke who lost his duchy, and he was attempting to regain it back. So that is kind of where I begin, and then there's a lot of steps under that. Obviously, you have to make a character who, depending on where you want to go, you can go like super evil and just make them outright bad, which there aren't a lot of characters like that in real life. I mean, there are, but like everybody has a reason for doing what they're doing and a belief for why they do it. So just having somebody destroying because they want to destroy is pretty rare. So, usually there's a reasoning behind it, whether it's as weird as I believe I'm a god, or whether it's like your character, I want to make more money. There's always reasonings behind it, or gaining more power. So,
was that ever my character's?
No, your character, your evil guy that you were talking about.
Yes, I was gonna say, I was like, that wasn't my character in your campaign.
No,
I don't write characters like that.
No. Whether that's that, the enemy that you were creating just a second, or that you were mentioning a second ago.
Yeah.
So, I always have to find a reason for why they're doing what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
And the reason of I just wanted to destroy for destroying's sake is pretty lame reason for me, in my opinion.
100% agree.
Because why would you rule a populace after you destroyed everything? There's no point, you know? Like, you don't get any benefit. It kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So I think where we begin with our own villain is we got to come up with some sort of backstory, some sort of childhood, some sort of growing up, because that informs a lot of what's going on. You know, why is he the way that he is? What does he want to accomplish? And what's the reasoning behind that, right? So, we can base him off of a real historical figure if we want, or we can just make something up. It might take a little bit longer because we might have to do a little bit of extra research to base him off somebody. So let's just kind of, go with the flow here. So
So
why do you think?
I would say let's first start with like the why does he want to
Yeah.
destroy these ascension points to godhood?
Yeah. Why does he want to destroy the ascension points to godhood and bring down the pantheon? What's his reasoning for it? I don't know. Two things immediately come to my mind, but I think they're pretty tropey. One is he was a god and kicked out of heaven or whatever, kicked out of.
See, my thing was I think the first that came to mind was family members that tried to ascend and failed.
Ooh.
So he lost like his best friend brother. His brother, who was his best friend, he lost him because he tried to ascend, but he failed.
Are we gonna go Full Metal Alchemist and like he tried to stop it and now he's like trapped in armor?
That was not my plan.
No, that's sort of reminded me of. But
I mean, the idea of him like somehow saving his brother, I don't hate that.
I don't know if I want him to save it. I like the idea of him not saving him and something bad happened when he touched the dead corpse or whatever, you know?
Well, what if we go Full Metal Alchemist? Say he didn't save his brother, but he found the body and he tried to resurrect the body, and in doing so almost killed his sister or his mother.
Well, what if we go full Metal Alchemist? I just had to say that for the bit.
Can we do Lukewarm Alchemist?
Yeah. Partial Alchemist, please. No, I like the idea of a family member, brother, if we want to go with a brother in this case, tried to ascend to godhood and failed. What if like they were trying to go together and his brother became the weird demented beast and he watched it happen, but he couldn't kill it? Like it started small.
I love the
and he
idea
just
of his
couldn't-
brother becoming the beast. I'm 100% here for that. Do we want it
He'd
to
have
be
to
the
live for a
actual
long
beast
time,
that
though.
they have the city on, or do we think
Yeah.
that he became another beast like Thruun, more like a Thruun-like beast, like still big but not insanely big?
Well, my thought was he started off. So his brother and him were working together to ascend to godhood. It failed. His brother was the death of his brother was the result of them failing.
Uh-huh.
And his brother turned into
Can I give a little twist before we get too far?
Do it.
I think the two brothers are trying to ascend. Love that. Failure. I think whatever the brother who lived, or maybe sister, whoever the child that lived, I think we should do a woman this time. I think it would be fun. But whoever her brother, whatever she tried to do to save him, removed or did something to the holy energy that beast looks for. So when the beast came, the body wasn't right. The body was corrupted or wrong in some way. So instead of eating it, it turned it into this monster.
Okay.
And that's where
I like
first
that.
off, she finds the beast because he was coming for the body of her brother, but also it did something different to the body than how it normally does.
Okay. I like that. I also had an idea that I don't know. So my idea was that this thing happened and her brother died from it and slowly became that monster. And I was thinking like she had the opportunity to kill it, but she couldn't because it was her brother and it was small at the time, right? So like think of Gollum's slow descent into madness in Lord of the Rings. Something along those lines. Like she knew her brother was too far gone, but she couldn't destroy it, and it like messed with her mind, if that makes sense. And then it ended up getting away or escaping. Maybe she tried to like keep it alive and keep it fed, and it turned into something that she couldn't control, and it escaped and got away. The only problem I have with it is our time frame. Was this a really long time ago? Was it 20 years ago and this thing just grows real quick? Um, which I guess would make sense. It could
I
grow
would say
fast.
I also don't think that it's not like an infant whatever it turned into.
Right, right.
I also I I would say let's not make it weak to begin with and grow strong, but let's make it when it is first created, it's like in a daze or it doesn't have its full power yet.
Now,
It's
if
not smaller or it doesn't look any different from the day it got turned to now.
because the thing is, it's got to be big, right, for a city to be on its back. So it would have to grow really fast or
Well,
start out
no,
giant.
no. I think that thing still exists.
Oh,
I think
okay.
it's
And it
separate.
we're going with okay. So
This is like a creature that it turned it into.
okay, that I guess that makes sense. So it's like a corrupted thing, and this creature comes and eats it, and it turns corrupted,
Well,
or
I think it
worse.
doesn't eat it because whatever
It just
she
like
did to
absorb.
try to save it, all of the energy that it would eat wasn't there. So this is what it does when it gets summoned and the food source is gone. Maybe it like ate a
Okay,
part of its soul. I don't know how. I don't know exactly what this
here's
would
okay.
entail.
I think we can connect a couple bridges here.
Mm-hmm.
One, I think she doesn't do anything to her brother's body.
Okay.
Her brother survives and becomes essentially like a mindless cursed, right? Cursed and mindless. And she takes care of her brother in some cottage, or attempts
Mm-hmm.
to, right? To keep it alive. She can't kill it. She can't get rid of it. She feels a ton of remorse for not causing it, but it's, being a big part of the reason for this to happen to her brother.
Yeah.
They live far away in the middle of nowhere. That's where she takes it because she doesn't want anybody to see it. And one day she comes back and her brother, the house is swallowed up in a giant hole. It's like broken down and fallen in, and her brother is gone. And that's how she discovers this ancient entity, because that ancient entity was coming to eat the remnants of becoming a god. That's how she discovers the entity in the first place. Because we needed a way for her to figure it out
Mm-hmm.
outside of, I feel like a more personal reason than just like, I researched and found something cool. Um, I really like that idea of like she came back one day and it had essentially performed a raid on her own house, right? Maybe she killed a couple of these mindless creatures that were surrounding the area, and her house was collapsed in this giant hole, and her brother was taken.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe she could scry on the remnants of the corpse and see this entity or monster that was, or she saw it take her brother. Any number of things, but I like the idea of kind of bridging all that together. And she now has a couple desires. One, if she brings this creature to a pillar and collapses godhood, maybe she can bring her brother back in a roundabout way, or they can become gods again, or she could become a god again and bring her brother back to normal. That could be part of her reasoning, which could be an interesting, maybe less immoral, like thing, because you could feel bad for her, I guess, a little bit. Thoughts?
Hmm. I like. I'm good with the idea of him just becoming like a brainless undead of some sort. I like the idea of the escape and all that. I don't quite follow the last part. I'm thinking for that last part, for how he gets to the creature again, maybe he has the same sense like the creature does when a failed attempt happens. And so he kind of goes in this rampage and runs towards, because he also has like a thirst for that energy now.
Are we talking about the brother who's all
The
cursed
brother.
now?
Yeah.
I was thinking that the creature comes and takes the brother.
I
Like
understood that. And
it's
that's the part that I wasn't exactly vibing with. So
oh,
I'm just saying another option.
yeah. The only reason I would say that he would come and take him is because he's the cursed thing that the monster wants to eat or consume, but he doesn't, because the monster doesn't consume it because he can't, or if he tried to, he becomes. So that was my thought.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So I thought this was already after the beast had tried once, correct?
I was thinking it wasn't cursed yet until it tries to consume the big bad evil's her brother.
Okay, what do you mean cursed?
I don't know. Like it's not. It's I don't know. It's not. I don't want to say like rampaging, but it's not. It's not looking to kill pieces of humanity like it does now. So I was thinking maybe like. I mean, we could add further backstory,
So
and
my question
now
for
that
you is what happened to the brother? Why is he different?
I don't know. I don't know. That would be something we'd have to discuss. That'd be the next place to go. Is why was their failed attempt different and made it cursed? Like, was it close to almost succeeded, but it couldn't?
Was it
Was
on like a fake pillar or some sort of like the pillar? This was a cursed pillar that no one ever tried before.
That could be interesting. That could definitely be
They
interesting.
found an ancient like a pillar that was like under the ground that they're like, wait, this is the same energy type as the other like the actual pillars for people trying to ascend to godhood. Why don't we try?
Oh man, I mean that could be very interesting. My thought, man, I kind of like that. I'm not gonna lie, but the question is how did they get that piece of pillar? How did
I
they
think
try
they
and
just
connect
found
to
it.
that pillar?
I think they found it.
They
I think
just
they
find
found
it.
it like maybe they even found it as kids and they didn't understand what it was until like later and they were like adults and they were researching stuff and they all like went off to like powerful wizard universities or sorcerer universities or whatever class they were. They went off to like the best of the best universities and they read up on these pillars and they're like, is
Of an
that the
ancient
thing that we
society or
found?
whatever. Was it? Oh, ooh,
I don't
ooh.
think it had
What
an
if it?
ancient city. Oh,
Well, my
hold on.
thought
I
is, what
think
if there
I
was?
think we're both going to the same
Yeah,
place.
yeah. Go, go. Let's see. Let's see.
What if they found an ancient city down there and everything, and once they did that, it awoken this beast?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That was
yeah,
my thought.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
I
why
like
it
that a
hasn't been a
lot.
problem in the world before this.
Exactly. Yeah, because it's all of a sudden happening, and there hasn't been. So this city was built on top of this monster without any knowledge. The monster's
Oh,
not
I got
awake
it. I
yet.
got it. I know what this thing is.
Okay,
What if it is a pillar that was partially eaten by this beast?
so I have
So
a
that's why it
couple.
was cursed. It wasn't a full pillar. It wasn't a proper pillar.
It was partially destroyed from this beast. It was
Yeah,
in process of consuming it or something.
yeah. Or
I
I
think
think
that's
I
cool.
think he ate it and then like ate all the energy from it
Yeah,
and went into like a hibernation. And when somebody
I like
tried
that.
to, they it was pretty like much like providing a jump start to this
Yeah.
pillar. So
Now,
suddenly he's like shocked awake because there's more energy to consume.
here's my other thought too,
Mm-hmm.
and let me know what you think about this. What if this society, this old ancient city, was trying to create their own pillar and it failed, and it became a cursed pillar
Hmm.
or a broken pillar? But I think I like the consumption
I
eating pillar
I
better.
don't hate your idea, but I kind of want to add to it.
I like both. What if there's man? I like
What
both
if
though. I
what
like
if it was these people were trying to Tower of Babel it and become like gods, but
and the monster destroyed them
well,
and the
yes.
pillar.
So the monster was a creation of the gods to destroy anything like this.
Prevent people from doing that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But something that was in its creation caused this pillar, like caused its consumption of the pillar to like short circuit it or maybe just make it go into hibernation and then like something about the way that these people tried to ascend to a pillar that it had already eaten like
Okay.
corrupted it
Yeah.
like you were saying.
All right. Yeah. Let's refine this. Let's refine this. Okay.
Yeah.
My ideas. This is kind of a summary of what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Ancient civilization built a city underground. Blah blah
Yes.
blah blah blah. Cool. They become magically powerful. Whatever. Powerful in some way, and they believe they can create their own pillar, and perhaps I don't know, ascend to godhood or become as powerful as the gods or whatever. Classic story. I love that story though. It's like one of my favorites. They begin construction of this pillar. And this is ancient. This is a long time ago, right? They begin construction of this pillar. The gods create a monster to stop it and prevent the further
False
construction
ascension.
of the
They call them
further and
false
false ascension.
ascensions.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Of any people, of any group trying to create a pillar. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's attracted to the ascension ritual, it's attracted to the failing of an ascension ritual, anything regarding ascension of a god connected to a pillar. So it can come and stop that problem, right? This people almost finished creating a pillar when this monster came and attacked, right? Ravaged the city. It ate part of the crystal. Perhaps one of the or a group of mages within this city put it to sleep as it was destroying the civilization, and it fell to rest, consuming this pillar and breaking and destroying it. So we have like a partially completed pillar that was destroyed and consumed by this monster that fell and was asleep, consuming it.
Mm-hmm.
it became cursed because it was a failed pillar. The energy was wrong. It was messed up, and
Mm-hmm.
it cursed this monster. But it was asleep. It could no longer function because of whatever the society did to it, or whatever the gods did to it. Even
See, it might.
these.
The thing that I
Yep.
was I was debating on is that it honestly might just be this is what it always does. As soon as it destroys one of these things, it goes into hibernation because the gods don't want it running around either.
Okay.
And
I like
so
that. Yeah.
and
It's just
so this
it's just asleep.
whatever these big bad evil guy does and their brother, what she does and her brother, they like corrupt or like this
Okay.
because it's like honestly the way I'm exactly picturing it in my brain is this creature is literally asleep with the city on its back and the pillar like touching its head, like it ate the bottom half of it and fell
Okay.
asleep underneath. So the
Here's what I'm
pillar for
picturing.
these people that come up like that show up, it looks like a full pillar because it's touching
Yeah.
quote unquote the floor, but it's not. It's touching this beast.
Okay. Here's my picture, which is virtually identical. I like the idea of it eats this pillar, it goes to sleep after it eats this pillar, after it absorbs its energy because the gods don't like it roaming. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's perfect. That is exactly what I want. Um, I think I want to change. The city wasn't built on its back. When this creature came and attacked the city, consumed the pillar, and fell asleep, it like crashed down around the city, and now it's a ruined, destroyed city. In its vicinity,
Mm-hmm.
in its area, and over the years, it's this creature's huge, right? This cavern and this place that it was created has slowly collapsed and fallen around, and has essentially, due to various different activities, has not attached itself, but is part of the creature now. The creature has either
Mm-hmm.
grown from consuming this pillar. It's essentially now part of the creature
Yeah.
in this old ruined city. And the big bad evil guy, or the sister and brother, they read about an ancient civilization that tried at one point, and again, this, I don't know how how available this knowledge is or whatever. They either read about it, or they read about an ancient civilization, and they go explore with a team of adventurers to find and locate this city. They find it a ruin, they find it destroyed. They have no idea there is a monster in this city at all. But in the ruins of this city, they do an excavation. They don't even know there's a pillar. They conduct a excavation, and they loot the city is essentially what they're doing for their own benefit and their own gain, right? Because their goal is still to ascend to godhood. These two, they still want. So they're looking for secrets, they're looking for power, they're looking for artifacts, they're looking for whatever they can find within this ancient civilization that was powerful, right? So it's a
Mm-hmm.
known civilization that was powerful. They just don't know where it is, right? People just don't know where it's located. They begin this investigation, conduct it, and they find the half consumed pillar, but they don't know that a beast was consuming it or ate it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they just find a piece of this pillar, the top of this pillar or whatever, that's intact and correct, right? So they, jackpot, right? They found the artifact of artifacts. They found their way to ascension. They try to perform the ritual. It goes horribly wrong. It awakens the beast, and we go from there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is very interesting.
Yeah.
How does the big bad evil guy get away? Do they get away? What's the what's the thought process there?
I think they're in the city at the time, right?
Yeah, I would agree.
So
Do
this
they
thing just
escape
starts
from this?
moving, and they're just like, "What the hell is happening?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They just think it's like an earthquake, and then suddenly, like, the stone is moving around them, and this creature is just like thrashing and moving about. I think it takes years for them to like gain any sort of control of it, and they don't even have control. They just kind of know an idea of how to get
I
control.
even Yeah, and I even think it'd be interesting if it takes years for the creature to get out of the slumber and space that it's in because of, however many thousands of years it's stuck within the earth. Now it's like slowly crawling its way out until it can start getting out of its entrapment from being asleep for so long.
Yeah,
I think that would be interesting too. And she keeps coming back to this place, trying to
I don't think she
unravel the
leaves its
secrets.
back.
She just never left.
What happened? Okay, so can you? Okay, what happened to the brother?
Brother dies in the ascension, or in the attempt
Yeah,
to ascend in the ritual.
but
I'm
like,
abandoning pretty much the rest of it, and
oh, you're
he's
abandoning
dead
all.
down there.
Okay,
Yeah, he's just dead down there. That's what I'm. their ascension just awakened the beast, and he dies down there. She has his body still. That's pretty much what I'm
Do you want
thinking.
to do something a little weird, a little wild?
Yeah, absolutely, I do. I watched Love Island, man. I'm ready for weird.
What if the beast over centuries goes insane, unable to get the food that it was summoned to get because it's on its back?
Or what if? Okay, I like this idea. I like the idea of it going insane. What if it goes insane because there's nothing left to eat? So now it goes and searches for souls and things to consume.
Oh, it's forced to be awake when there's no
Yeah.
food. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And so it has to find something else to consume. And
Ooh,
people
how about this?
have it.
How about this?
Oh gosh, finds a Love Island.
She,
The other happy creatures.
the big bad evil guy, in trying to figure out how do I control this beast, has begun feeding it bits of her brother.
Oh yeah.
Because her brother's energy is what it wants.
What if?
So she's
Yeah.
using it like a carrot to like attract the.
Oh gosh, what if the ascension partially succeeded, and her brother is
Like a lich.
yeah, or like just stuck,
Because
like
it's a corrupted.
like it failed. He can't. I like the idea of him like not being able to move or do anything because
Oh.
it failed.
So
but
he is like
connected.
partial godhood, but he's like catatonic.
Yeah, and my thought is he connected to the beast and the pillar that it consumed, and it's driven it mad now.
Oh, so he partially has control.
He's yeah, or doesn't.
Oh,
like he's
oh
connected
no! How about
to it.
How about the more of him that it consumes, the more control he has over it.
Oh gosh.
And as a god, he regenerates. So
he's
just
like in a
over the
permanent-
years, they've slowly been cutting off a limb here, a limb there, letting it grow back, cut off another limb, and feeding it to this beast until he has control.
And that's oh gosh, and then that's what she's trying to do.
And
But they
they've
can't
gotten
control
to
it now. And
Yeah, they're getting to a point where they start to have more control over where it goes, but they're not fully there yet.
I like that. That's horrifying.
Yeah,
That is horrific. That's so gross.
it is, and it's horrible, and I love it. Well,
It's time
I
to
think
feed your middle finger to the creature brother.
Yeah.
Boop. My gosh.
Well, I think that'll do it for episode 107 of Dungeoneered.
Yeah. My gosh.
That was a good episode. I enjoyed that a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. I need to talk about Love Island more often. Gosh.
Well, thank you all for listening. And if you'd like to write to us, you can write to us at dungeoneered@hotmail.com. We'd love to hear from you if you have ideas for topics, lukewarm opens, or even recipes.
Whoa. We got to slow down. You're speeding through this outro. Like where's your normal you can't talk in the outro? That's what I'm trying to hear. Did you write this
You
down?
want me to stumble? I did not write anything down. I am purely going
Just
off memory.
Learning from your past mistakes.
Yes,
I
but
see,
last
see.
week was a major stumble.
It was a
So I'm
blunder.
like, I'm just trying to do it better.
But now I've got you flustered.
No, you just kind of interrupted, and I was already going to stumble here because I started with the email, and then I normally start with something else, but I can't remember what I normally start with. Aaron, is there anything
I don't
else?
know if you like the podcast,
please
rate it.
Yes, please rate and review us on any podcasting apps that has ratings and reviews. It really helps the show, showing you're engaging in more ways than just one, and also reviews help other people know what they're getting into with this show.
Woo!
Anything you want to add, Aaron?
No, man, that was well done. Even with an interruption, man. Gosh.
Thank you.
We're professionals.
We are. I mean, we're 107 episodes down. I hope we at
Yeah,
least
we
learned
should.
something.
Hey, we had a
Even if it was
large
just
break
one
in
thing.
between. Okay, we had a large break in between. Okay,
That's
calm
true.
down.
We did have a break of a year, literal
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
I love that we took the break on episode 100. It was unintentional. The break was 100% unintentional, but it happened on episode 100.
here we are.
Well, as I always say,
I literally tried
always
to laugh
remember
every time. And I
to be
can't.
the sharpest barrel in the bunch. See you next time.
Bye.
There we go.